So this is the mat I made, which is a replica of the composition book. Now this is the first letter. If I'm teaching them how to write cat or how to put the movable alphabet on this mat, so they know that this is how it should be going. The first letter is ka, then the middle sound is the vowel, and the last sound is the consonant, which is ta. Now the ta goes up. So they also learn that there are letters which goes up and there are letters which goes down, and some of them stays in the middle. It also helps them to learn that we start from left to right. So every work we do in Montessori is actually from left to right, just to make it all same for them and not getting confused with the other lessons.
Also
Yes.
memory.
Yes. So this is movable alphabets, and then we have card. We have extensions of these lessons, various extensions where we use cards, we use objects, and then once we know that they are very strong enough to know, we will remove them and we'll tell them, can you make me say cat? Can you make me bat or something like that? And then it goes for each vowel. First we start with A, E, I, O, U, and then we can just mix the words, any words like say tin or cat or bun. So it has different vowels in it. So but we do not introduce all the vowels at the same time because they will get very confused with the sounds then. So that's a thumb rule for Montessori teaching. Once they finish movable alphabets, short vowels, then we can proceed to long vowels and go on from there. So the long vowel.
You want to do the long vowel or do the pre-pencil exercises?
Yeah, we can do pre-pencil exercises. Pre-pencil exercises would be metal insets, where and I always tell in my with my parents, and I'm sure the other teachers also does that, when the children are getting these paper where you see the lines, do not think that they were just sitting and coloring. It is not just that. It is actually a very important exercise for writing work for future, because they have to make sure they put the inset on the top of the paper and then they trace it with 3 pencils. So the first pencil like this, and it's not easy because we try to give this lesson to even 3-year-old if they are ready to work with the pencil after they are moved from chalk and push pinning. So depends on child to child though. So they're gonna trace this. And this also has this is an inset, metal inset. Oh, so it has also 2 parts. This is the outer part, which is easy because it is already shaped and they can just trace it around. Once they know it, we are going to make it more harder. And that is why we always say there are extensions. We do not put master, once we are finished with lesson, no, because if we put master, then there will be no possibility to give these extensions or these lessons. So this is the next level, which is harder. We're going to put this, and then they have to hold it from the middle and then trace it like this. So it can move here and there, but again, it needs concentration and also strong pencil grasp muscles.
Strong pencil, focus.
Yes.
And
so this doesn't end here. We always start with the straight line, and that is why the square is introduced. And also indirectly, what is it doing? It is teaching them shapes. So this has several different shapes: circle, triangle, octagon, pentagon.
quadruple.
Yes, and then trapezoid. Yes, all the shapes which you will see in geometry, and also you have seen in sensorial when we were giving a presentation. It is actually the same lesson where you will see all these shapes, but the only difference is they are now trying to trace it, not just putting 2 fingers around it, but also now trying to trace it with the pencil. So
only thing we don't do is multiple polygon shapes, because we don't want like a 8-sided figure or a 6-sided figure. That gets more complicated for the children to do. So
yes,
it just takes
Stop in the pentagon.
like trapezoid
yes,
square or what
yes,
like that.
yes. As they grow older and they come to kindergarten year, depends on how much they can work on. We always introduce new lessons, but it also depends on the child, that where they are. Yes, and from there. So this is your pre-writing. Pre-writing is also push pinning, like we said, and also chalkboard, and also the sand tray and we have these sandpaper letters, so they trace with fingers. Now there are many extensions of again these lessons. What are the extensions? They can put a paper on top of it and just
Use a
Coloring.
use
crayon,
a crayon and scribble
rub it
on top
on,
of it, or rub it,
yes.
rub on top of it, and it will automatically, the shape will come out. So it is another way to teach holding pencil or crayon or anything which they are, even the chalk they can use, colored chalks. And what else?
Then the next one is going to be, after movable alphabets, we are going to move on to the writing samples. Okay, so that is going to be the 3-lined dotted alphabet booklets that the children start to trace. That basically gives them an idea as in where the alphabet starts and what form it takes. So it has an arrow marking that goes like a D goes like this, goes up and comes down. So there's an arrow marking, and it kind of helps the children. What we would like to do as much as possible is let them do multiple books until they are confident enough to form a strong alphabet formation. There have been children whom we have given 2 books in the past. They just finish up tracing all of that. Sometimes it's 1 page at a time or 2 pages at a time, and they just get a strong hold or strong grip of how the alphabets are written down on a piece of paper. Ms. Ananda and Sananda, is there anything you want to add to it?
About
Like the writing material.
yes, writing material. Once they
And,
move from here, and we are confident enough that they can start tracing it with the pencil. Then of course
Yeah.
we provide them dotted lines, or like we also have these rice paper sheets where we can attach it to the sentence strips or their own names. And we attach it with them, and then they just have to trace it on top of it.
Yeah.
So there are multiple different ways where they can do practices: a composition book, rice paper sheets, or just the dotted lines or dots. We
Or
have
right.
these dots.
Dotted
So-
yeah.
So these are the things which are used for practicing writing.
Yeah.
Once they graduate from pre-writing exercises, because we don't want to rush without seeing that they are actually ready or not.
And confuse
Yeah.
the kids.
Yes, yes.
Because when they get
Yes.
frustration in any lesson, they are going to say, no, I don't want it. You
Yes.
have to be slow and follow the child.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So then the next one that we move on to is called the phonetic object box. So this object box will again have like these little articles. It's like a CBC objects, like a or a car or a cow or a cat and things like that. So basically we have that, and then we do have like empty strips of paper. Empty strips
Objects
of paper.
like this.
Yeah. Where the teacher sits and writes a sound at. The child is able to put the sounds together, blend the sounds, because that's something they have done in the movable alphabets. They are able to put the sounds down, and some children do blend the sounds right then and there, and they're able to put the word together. So that's something they're familiar with. And then we move on to the phonetic object box, where the words are very phonic. There are no long vowels and things like that. They're very simple, very solid. It's not an abstract material where the children don't know what the sound is or things like that. It's very hands-on. They're able to do it easily. So once they have mastered that one, we move on to the unphonetic object box, meaning most of the objects will be phonetic, but 1 or 2 objects will be taking them to the next level, like a car, K-R-A-R sound. So that is not something they are familiar with when they were learning the short vowel. So that's like a basic, very small introduction to what's coming up next. But because the object being present right in front of them, they exactly know what we are talking about, and that kind of gives them an idea as in what is coming up next. And then we move on to what we call the phonograms, long vowels, magic key, long vowel, phonogram, digraphs, diphthongs, and all of that follows. So Ms. Ananda, so that again, typically they have a whole different set of movable alphabets, but we just use our same movable alphabets and we give an intro. So
these are once they are done with phonetic words, and we are very sure that any vowel we put, they are able to read it and write it. So we will be introducing them with different grammar, and that will different concepts. And then, like Ms. Durga said, then we are going to introduce long vowels or digraphs or phonograms, or maybe more, introduction of compound words
And
like
more
that.
vocabulary.
Vocabulary. So that depends on child to child, and you will see even a 4-year-old doing certain advanced lessons, or a 5-year-old doing a lesson which 4 years old is doing. It is all depends on the child, where the child is, and we just encourage with lessons, and we want them to enjoy those lessons, not forcing them that okay, you have to do it. So these are, which is very important part of Montessori
Yes.
way of teaching.
Now we are coming to
Okay,
go on.
continues.